You open Instagram, you rely on WhatsApp, you scroll Facebook. 3 different apps, 3 different identities. But what if I told you the same company controls all of them? And most people never realized how quietly it happened. This isn't just a story about social media. It's a story about how one company slowly brought our attention, our conversations, and our time. One app at a time. And you know what's the craziest part? At the time of these acquisitions, many people thought Facebook was overpaying. Today, those same deals are considered some of the smartest business moves in tech history. Hi, I'm Shruti. Welcome to One Company, One Story. This podcast is about one company, decision taken by that company, and a lesson to be learned. Also, this podcast is based on publicly available information and is intended for educational purposes only. And today's story is about how Facebook quietly built one of the biggest digital empires in history by acquiring Instagram and WhatsApp before the world understood their true power. So before we begin, don't forget to follow our One Company, One Story Instagram page for updates, behind the scenes content, and the episode highlights. You can also now listen to our podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube Music. Just search for One Company, One Story and join us there. Well, with that said, let's get into today's story.
At the last count, 600 million of us are your friends. Together, we are changing the world than entire nations combined. What powers you? Coal, the #1 contributor to climate change. Facebook. Unfriend coal and help lead an energy revolution. Let's keep our world a world worth changing.
The Instagram deal. So now let's go back to 2012, where the Instagram looked tiny. The company literally had only 13 employees. There were no ads, no real revenue, just a simple app where people shared filtered photos. So at the same time, the Twitter was also trying to buy Instagram. So these Instagram founders, Kevin and Mike, were meeting tech executives, investors, and venture capital firms while preparing to raise funds at a $500 million valuations. And then Mark Zuckerberg came into the picture. He called. So according to the reports, Mark told Kevin that, I want to buy your company. I'll pay double your valuation. So the Facebook eventually bought Instagram for $1 billion. At that time, people thought that price was ridiculous because why would anyone spend $1 billion on a photo sharing app with almost no business model? But Zuckerberg saw something others missed. The internet was shifting from the computers to mobile phones, literally from the desktop computers to mobile phones. So then Instagram was winning mobile attention faster than any other app in the world. See, the Facebook understood something incredibly important. That if the user stopped spending time on Facebook and moved to Instagram instead, Instagram could become a future threat, which is true. So instead of competing with it, they bought it. So here's what made the deal genius. Instagram was allowed to stay independent. Well, that is, the app kept its own brand, its own identity, and its own founders. So to users, nothing seemed different. It was same for all of us. But quietly, Facebook now owned one of the fastest growing apps on the earth. And today, Instagram alone is estimated to be worth hundreds of billions of dollars. The WhatsApp deal. Then came an even crazier acquisition. Now let's go back to 2014, where Facebook bought WhatsApp for $19 billion. Initially, which later became nearly around $22 billion after Facebook stock prices rose. So at that time, it became one of the biggest software acquisitions in the history. And again, people thought that this Zuckerberg lost his mind because WhatsApp had no ads, almost there was no revenue, only a tiny yearly subscription fee, and just around only 32 employees the company had. Yes, like only 32 employees. But despite the tiny team, WhatsApp already had over 450 million active users, which is amazing, right? And you know what? It was growing faster than the Facebook itself had grown. More than 1 million people were downloading WhatsApp every single day. So its engagement levels were insane. Over 70% of the users opened the app daily, far above the industry averages. And the WhatsApp had become the default communication platform in the countries like India, Brazil, and across Europe. Because people weren't just using it casually. Entire families, businesses, schools, and even the friend groups depended on it. So I still remember back in school days where whenever we are assigned with a group project, so before WhatsApp, we used to have this con call. It's like only a chaos because everyone will be like shouting their point from each end, and then at last no one discuss anything. It just ends in chaos. So that's how it worked. And then when WhatsApp came, we started this group and then we discuss on the group for our group projects. So back then we didn't have our own phones. We used our parents' phone for the WhatsApp. But still, like if you have WhatsApp, it's like a cool thing. So moving on, and the Facebook understood one powerful truth. That is, whoever controls communication controls engagement. WhatsApp wasn't just a messaging app. It was becoming the infrastructure of global communication. And unlike telecom companies charging for SMS, WhatsApp offered unlimited messaging almost free. And at a point, WhatsApp message volumes rivaled the entire global SMS system. Every single day, users are sending billions of messages, hundreds of millions of photos, voice notes, and videos. And WhatsApp achieved all of this within almost zero marketing speed. The founders, Jane Combe and Brian Acton, believe in simplicity. There is no ads, no gimmicks, and no flashy promotions. Just a fast, reliable communication tool. And the users loved it. Why Facebook really bought WhatsApp? See, the thing is, Facebook didn't buy WhatsApp because it was making a huge profits. They bought them for attention, user behavior, engagement, data, and the future dominance. Mark Zuckerberg even believed that the WhatsApp could eventually reach 3 billion users. See, for Facebook, the strategy was pretty simple. Own the platform where people spend their time before competitors do. And just like Instagram, Facebook promised WhatsApp independence. The founders stayed involved. The app remained separate. And most users never felt the merger even happened. But slowly, one company now controlled the social media, messaging, photos, stories, reels, and the online communication itself. The Meta transformation. So eventually, the company became much larger than the Facebook. So back in 2021, the company renamed itself as the Meta Platforms. The goal was bigger than the social media. Meta wanted to build AI, virtual reality, digital ecosystems, and the future internet experience. But the foundation for that empire was built years earlier. The business strategy. So here's what the business strategy is called. It's strategic acquisition. That is, they build their entire foundation years earlier, as I said before. Because sometimes companies don't destroy competitors. They buy them before those competitors become too powerful. Facebook realized something early. Attention is the most valuable resource on the internet. And the more apps you control, the more time users spend inside your ecosystem. So instead of fighting with Instagram and WhatsApp, that is their competitors, Facebook observed them. And by doing that, it protected its dominance for another decades. But you know what? These acquisitions also created a huge controversy. Critics argue that Facebook was becoming too powerful. Some internal mails later revealed that Zuckerberg viewed Instagram as a competitive threat. Regulators and the lawmakers later questioned whether the big tech companies were buying competitors simply to eliminate future competition. And today, Meta faces multiple antitrust investigations around the world. Because when one company controls communication, social interaction, and the digital attention at a global scale, people start asking difficult questions. One lesson to be learned from this episode is that the biggest companies doesn't always win by building everything themselves. Sometimes they win by buying the future before everyone else notices it. Facebook didn't invent photo sharing. They didn't invent mobile messaging. They just recognized where the world was heading and moved faster than everyone else. That was the story of company merger most people never really noticed. This is one company, one story where we decode businesses through one defining decision that shaped their success or a failure. And sometimes the biggest business moves happen so quietly that the world doesn't even realize history is changing in real time. Anyway, this is Shruti signing off. See you in the next episode of One Company, One Story. Until then, stay updated. Bye.